Back with you on Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery and Locked On Sports Atlanta, asking you to head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you get there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, we are free and available on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Leave us a 5-star review after you download us. And, of course, you can give me a follow on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Look, we all know what the Braves need, right? The Braves need to go find themselves an outfielder, but the market's thin. And that's why Benintendi headed to the Yankees really was just kind of frustrating, because that would have been sort of the perfect fit. Doesn't mean that Alex Anthopoulos can't find somebody else. And obviously, look, give Alex Anthopoulos all the credit in the world. The way that he's been able to keep these kinds of things together, he's been able to, mix in some guys that maybe we didn't expect would have those kinds of impacts. And of course, they blow everything up. Look at last year when the idea of, okay, we got to rebuild our outfield, right? So let's bring in Jock Peterson to start with. And I remember I was on air on the radio station when Jock Peterson was traded for. That was not a popular trade amongst fans. Oh, this guy can't do this or that or whatever like that. Come in here and completely stabilize their outfield. Gave him a little bit of punch, gave him a left-handed bat, stabilize their defense in the outfield, and off we went. Jorge Soler was awful in Kansas City. He comes in and is the MVP of the World Series. Eddie Rosario was awful for the Cleveland Indians. He traded Kung Fu Panda, who was doing nothing for you, and Rosario comes in and he's crushing it throughout the playoffs. ALC or NLCS and Milwaukee just had a big tremendous run, right? And those guys were big main reasons why the Braves got themselves a World Series championship. This year, it is a lot of vagabond players. Look, I'm going to give you 3 names for outfielders. A lot of people think that the San Francisco Giants at this point should start to get themselves in sell mode, okay? That they're fading quickly. They're not going to win the division. They're probably not going to be a playoff team with all the competition. Look, that Central's a very tight race between Milwaukee and St. Louis. Obviously, out west with the way the Padres and the Dodgers have played. And then in the east, the way the Braves and the Mets have played. You really squeezed out probably of a good playoff spot if you're the San Francisco Giants, because you're going to play those Western teams so often that going to be hard to accumulate wins. Jock Peterson is obviously a guy who may or may not be out there, right? Now, when I give you the other 2 names, you'll understand why that Jock Peterson, to me, is probably the best option for the Braves again. Obviously, I love the fact Peterson is an all-star this year. I love the fact that he is a left-handed bat, 17 homers, 43 RBI, was an all-star this year. Again, he's only hitting 242 on the season, but, look, 811 OPS, he's a good defensive player, and obviously the winning element that he brings to the franchise, right? He becomes an immediate fan favorite. We know everything we need to know about Jock Peterson and the pearls and this and that. Hell, maybe if he comes here, he'll bring the pearls back. I don't know. He may have a new gimmick this time. It may be rubies or sapphires or emeralds or who knows what he may have, this year when he comes back, whatever like that. To me, that would be the top target for the Atlanta Braves when we're talking about outfielders. Next would be Brandon Drury. Now, he's the quote-unquote maybe next best option among outfielders that's not named Trey Mancini. I think Trey Mancini is going to be a very popular trade target for some teams for the Orioles. Problem with Mancini is he is a real defensive liability. So we got enough of those guys, around. Brandon Drury is a guy who is a right-handed hitter, mostly an infielder, third base, second base, but he is an outfielder, and he's actually played a couple of different outfield spots. He can certainly man down an outfield position. 61 runs scored this year, 19 homers, 57 RBI, 271 with a 332 on-base percentage. The only thing I question about, a couple of things that I question about Drury. One is he does play in a home park that is a bandbox. And obviously, even for a right-handed hitter, it's a bandbox. Those numbers may flatten out a little bit if he gets in here to Atlanta. Again, nice power punch, right? If you're talking about a guy who's literally like a sort of replacement for what Adam Duvall is, Drury fits that mold. He gives you that right-handed power. I've said before, though, I'd very much like to see another left-handed bat, especially when we get into the division race where we're talking about Alcantara and DeGrom and Scherzer, right? And all these, most of the top flight pitchers that are right-handed pitchers within your division, right? I'd rather see a left-handed bat to match up against some of those guys. Because let me tell you, Rosario is going to be in the lineup when the right-handers pitch. So you might as well have a left-handed hitting outfielder to make sure that that guy can start every day. So Drury is a very popular trade target as well. Of course, the Reds are disgraceful. They're the one of the flea bag organizations in Major League Baseball. Then the final name is a guy who is going to be here this weekend when the Braves get ready to take on the low-life, dirtbag, pond scum Arizona Diamondbacks. They're another flea bag organization. They stink. One guy to watch for the Arizona Diamondbacks is David Peralta. Now, Peralta's a kid who, and I say kid, he's 34 years old. Peralta's a little bit older. He is that left-handed bat that you would like to have. He is an outfielder that's got a little bit of punch to him. This year, 28 runs scored, 12 homers, 41 RBI, 251 with a 317 on base. He is a former Silver Slugger, and he's a former Gold Glove winner. Now, again, you got to go back to the Obama administration, I think, to find the last time he did all those things. But he's another guy that fits the bill. So when I say Jock and Drury and Peralta, Jock maybe moves the meter a little bit because of what we saw last year. But by and large, we're not talking Ohtani. We're not talking Soto, right? We're not talking about making one of those big home run splash types of moves. But the Braves need outfield help. And in a marketplace that's thin, now that Benintendi's gone, I'm not really high on Trey Mancini. I think Mancini's a good player. Just the Braves don't need another guy who's a butcher out in the outfield. If I want that, I've already got Ozuna and Rosario. I got plenty of guys who can go out there and muck it up out in the outfield for me, right? I need somebody who's at least sort of competent out in the outfield. Peterson, Peralta, Drury come in here, and they could be an option for the Braves out there. My guess is, especially, with all three of those guys, maybe more Peralta and Drury, there isn't a whole lot you're going to have to give up. And this is going to be the other thing about the Braves at the trade deadline is how many moves are the Braves able to make? And I don't mean like they're about to run out of players or anything like that. But now that you've traded Longeliers and Waters and Pache and all these different guys, right? Your minor league system of, talent isn't there anymore. The Braves are not a very high organization. I don't think they want to trade Schuster. They certainly don't want to get into trading Strider for anybody, right? Because that's another name that's going to pop up as a guy that teams are going to look at, right? Now, look, you trade for Soto or, Ohtani, now you're into Strider. Now you have to give up Strider and pieces like that. You ain't getting the MVP of the league, for a bag of beans. You have to give somebody up like that. But we're not talking about that here with Drury, Peralta, and Jock Peterson. I would love for the Braves to go out and get Jock Peterson. To me, Benintendi was the perfect fit. Play the different positions of outfield. He's young. He can, play all the different outfield positions. High batting average, high on base. Fits right in the top of the order. When you need some help there, would have been perfect. Give me Jock Peterson. Peralta, Drury, those guys feel like guys. But I will say this, though. If as a fan, I trust what Alex Anthopoulos is going to do. And he may have a name that's completely off our radar. We're just talking about some of the guys that are becoming more popular trade targets. Drury, Peralta, Jock Peterson, those are names that people are talking about that, okay, these guys may be available. And it very well may be that Jock Peterson is not available for the San Francisco Giants. They may not decide to throw in the towel and say, all right, we're done. We're good to go. They may decide to keep Peterson because they want to be in the Soto sweepstakes or the Ohtani sweepstakes. They're going to spend money. They're going to go in the offseason and spend a whole bunch of money. They may say Peterson is not available. If not, now the marketplace gets really thin, like razor thin. Drury, Peralta, those guys are nice. They don't move the meter. They don't feel like any big-time pieces. But again, I will say, I'll trust Alex Anthopoulos to find what this team needs. An outfield position right now seems to be their top need. All right, when we come back, rumors spread like wildfire on a story that, again, to me has no teeth behind it, but it's what we've got to do in media today, right? I'll talk about that next. Jon Chuckery on Hittin' Hard on Locked On Sports Atlanta.